Nancy's gonna help us warm up here. I need your help, guys. I'm gonna do my best with Ziggy Marley here. Ready? Love is my religion.
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 Love is my
And I'll take you
religion.
to the temple tonight. All my days I've been searching to find out what this life is worth. Through the books and Bibles of time, I've made up my mind. I don't condemn, I don't convert. This is the calling, have you heard? Bring all the lovers to the fold. No one is gonna lose their soul. Because love is my religion. Love is my religion.
Love is my religion.
Love is my religion. Hey, you can take it or leave it. You don't have to believe it. I don't want to fight.
Me either, sister.
Hey, let's go fly a kite.
Well, that sounds like a good idea.
There's nothing that we can cure. And I'll take you in my arms for sure. So Lord, let nobody stop us. Free spirit have to soar. With you I share the gift. The gift that we all know.
Everybody!
Love is my religion.
Love is my religion.
Love is my religion.
Love is my religion.
Love is my religion. Hey, you can take it or leave it. You don't have to believe it. Well, I'm done searching now. Found out what this life is worth. Not in the books did I find, but by searching my mind. I don't condemn, I don't convert.
She doesn't condemn, she doesn't convert.
This is the calling, have you heard? Bring all the lovers to the fold. No one is gonna lose their soul. Love is my religion.
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 Yeah.
Love is my religion.
Thanks to Gretchen and Nancy, and we won't forget Peter Polzak and Sarah Allen and Bill over there. Bill over there. Hi, Bill over there. Thank you all. Well, good morning. Welcome to Unity in Chicago. My name's Fred Mahaffey. It is a pleasure to see you all here. Glad you made it out on this rather dreary day because you stepped into a lot of light here. So thanks for coming and sharing your light with us. Before we get rolling, just a reminder to please set your telephones into meditation mode. Okay. Thank you. Each Sunday, we come together here at Unity in Chicago to celebrate our oneness with one another and with God. In Unity, we welcome people of every culture, every lifestyle, every creed. We honor the many paths to God, the many names for God, and the many ways in which to experience God. We give thanks for the presence of God in each of us and the expression of joy, love, and truth that that presence provides. As I light the Christ candle, I would remind us all that we are indeed the light that we bring to the world. Well, this morning we join with people all around the world who are reading the daily word, which today is healing. Wholeness is my true nature. I am vibrant and strong. My true spiritual identity, the I am who I am, is the source and catalyst for my healing. As I turn to this inner presence to reaffirm my wholeness, I find that what I have been seeking is already present within me. So I relax into this place of love and light and rediscover everything I need for healing. Wholeness is my true nature. At the core of my being is the eternal truth that wholeness is my natural state. I am one with unlimited spiritual life and power. When I tap into that divine essence, I feel energized and revitalized. My path of healing is an inner unfolding and a satisfying journey into the truth of who I am. Wholeness is my true nature. I am vibrant and strong. And from the 3rd chapter of Exodus, the 14th verse, God said to Moses, I am who I am. He said further, thus you shall say to the Israelites, I am has sent me to you. Well, I bring greetings and lots of love, of course, to you this morning from Reverend Heidi. She's in Tanzania. Yes. She will be back with us for the Ash Wednesday service on February 10th. In the meantime, she sends this personal note. Now, her other messages and reminders will follow, so we're not done yet, but this is her personal note. Greetings, loved ones. I am connecting with the hearts of the people in Tanzania. Our first day, we visited a center that supports the blind, deaf, and mute. They're quite gainfully employed in textile, beading, and glass-blowing activities. 2 lovely souls were showing me how to make a bracelet. They are much better than I. We learned some of the Swahili sign language, but the real language is the international symbol of love, the smile. I am so blessed to carry with me the vast light, love, and laughter of Unity in Chicago in my heart. And let me reassure you, I am not leaving Unity in Chicago. I know it's been a tough few weeks. First, my car being stolen, again. And now these 2 weeks in Africa. But fear not. I will be here for the Ash Wednesday service, and I hope all of you will plan to join me. We're also very blessed today to have our friend and a powerful spiritual leader with us, and that is the Reverend Mark Anthony Lord. I'll tell you more about Mark Anthony a bit later. So here are the announcements from Rev Heidi. I'm just the messenger. You'll find information in your bulletin for an upcoming workshop, Prayer Works, with Reverend Mark Anthony Lord. So mark your calendars for next Sunday, February 7th at 1 p.m., and you can sign up for that in the wings after the service. Mark Anthony will be out there to sign you up. Ash Wednesday service with Reverend Heidi, February 10th at 7 p.m. will be the start of our Resurrecting Your Soul series. Peter Polzak and Maggie Bynum will grace us with their musical talents, and coffee and cookies will be available following the service. Ash Wednesday is the beginning of Lent, a period of spiritual contemplation that is represented by Jesus' 40 days and nights in the wilderness. Embracing the wilderness, or the unknown, is the key to peace of mind. The only certainty about life is that surrendering to the mystery creates space for the magic of life to be revealed. So join us as we begin 7 weeks of prayer, contemplation, and spiritual transformation. We will journey through this time together in our in-home classes with our Spiritual Power Tools book as a guide, along with your own individual prayer practices. Our upcoming 7-week series at church, Resurrecting Your Soul, will begin Sunday, February 14th and runs through Easter, March 27th. The in-home discussion groups begin Thursday, February 18th, and you can sign up in the Friendship Room. We will have a Resurrected Souls potluck night at the church on Thursday, March 31st as a culmination of the in-home groups. And the book, Spiritual Power Tools by Jane Hart, is available for $10 in the wings. Last announcement. Reverend Heidi will be holding a silent meditation day on Saturday, February 20th from 9:30 to 5. So, of course, the best way to stay connected to all of the things that are going on at this spiritual center is to visit us on the web at www.unitychicago.org and to make sure that you get the weekly email blasts. So if you're not getting that, you can sign up downstairs or in the wings. I promise there are no more messages here. How cool is that? But now I get to introduce you to Nancy Erickson.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me as me. And where I sing, God is. Where I dance, joy lifts my feet. Where I live, beauty's flowing freely in and out and through me as me. For where I doubt, God is the faith in me. Where I cry, God is the comfort there. Where I seek, God is the answer. Here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak, truth is. Where I work, love is my career. Where I play, God is playing boldly in and out and through me as me. Ooh, God is I am. God is I am. Where I am, where I stand, where I play, where I work and breathe and move and be, where I sing, whenever I dance, my dance, my dance, wherever I go, where I pray and take and give and live. God is God is. God is. God is. God is.
Thanks so much, Nancy. What a great song. Well, we are so excited to welcome back Mark Anthony Lord to Unity today. As an internationally recognized New Era inspirational leader, speaker, and teacher, Mark Anthony's personal mission is to assist people in awakening to the power of self-love, acceptance, and joy. He is the founder of the Bodhi Spiritual Center in Chicago and is the author of 2 books, The 7 Living Words, an illuminated perspective on the 7 last words of Jesus, and his newest book, Thou Shalt Not Suffer, 7 Steps to a Life of Joy. So please join me in giving Mark Anthony Lord a very warm welcome here to Unity in Chicago.
Good morning. So glad to be back here at Unity. Just so glad to be here. I want to start with a fun story, maybe a few of you have heard. A mother visits her son, Tommy, at his new apartment, and she arrives to see that he has quite a handsome new roommate. Tommy, sensing his mother's curiosity, says, "Mom, I know what you're thinking, but I'm not gay. Brad is just my roommate." She nods. They eat, they hang out. She goes home. About a week later, Brad says to Tommy, "This is so strange. Ever since your mom was here last week, the soup ladle is missing." So Tommy says, "Well, let me contact my mom and see if she has it." So he sends her an email. And he says, "Mom, I'm not saying you do have the soup ladle. I'm not saying you don't have the soup ladle. But the fact remains that the soup ladle is missing." And so she writes back in a little bit, and she says, "Tommy, I'm not saying you are gay. I'm not saying you're not gay. But the fact remains, if Brad had been sleeping in his own bed, you would have found the soup ladle by now." That's a good one, right? That's a good one. Oh, it just makes us happy. It makes us feel happy. So I am honored to be here in wonderful Reverend Heidi's place. Just love her, adore her. I really do. I've been so enjoying getting to know her, being back in town, and just the real deal, like the real deal, which is such a joy to be around. So we send her lots of love and blessings where she is, that she have a wonderful time. And so I'm here for 2 weeks, which is such an honor, and I asked to focus on the power of transformational turbocharged prayer. Now, I know Unity is a praying place. I didn't make enough emphasis of that last service, and that haunted me a little bit after the service. So I do want to recognize that. In my talks, I do not imply that prayer does not happen here whatsoever. Of course, you're a very, very prayerful people, and it's always good to focus on, right? It's always good to look at a new way or a complementary way. I don't affirm that I have the only way, but it's just fun to enjoy other ways of researching it. So, when I was a kid, I was taught rote prayers, and I was very afraid. So God was out there and male and punishing. And so my prayers really came from fear. They really came from, let me be okay so that you'll be happy with me in your eyes kind of thing. I was taught, some of us were taught the words, "Lord, I am not worthy to receive you." Yeah, some of us know that. Many of us were taught the Our Father, which is actually a beautiful rote prayer, and some of us may have done the "Bless this, O Lord, for these thy gifts, which we're about to receive." Some of us know that. Us Catholics, I can find you anywhere in the room. That was our before dinner prayer, and we do it as fast as we could. Bless the Lord for these I good about receiving thy bounty through Christ our Lord, amen. That's how many times we said that one. And then when I reached my 20s, I got into 12-step recovery, and very early in my 20s, and I needed to stay alive. So it was a big deal that I was there. And there they said I have to pray. But I was so desperate and so broken that I was willing. And so the 12 steps activated a desire. And the prayers were still rote prayers in the 12-step program, but you know, when you come to anything with your whole heart, a rote prayer is a beautiful thing, for sure, for sure. So the 12 steps got my passion rolling, and it got my desire activated around this thing called prayer. And the 12 steps led me to here, to Unity right here. And what I accredit Unity for is healing my relationship with God, like big time. You know, coming from the little Catholic boy, God's out there, I have to be good, I'm going to hell kind of God, to being able to actually love the Word and experience the Word. There was a big healing transformation for me here at Unity. And I became a licensed Unity teacher. I was so into it. And we learned to pray then. I know there is a prayer format here that's actually similar to what I'll be teaching, beginning to teach. But when I was learning, it wasn't present. It wasn't there. But at least, or maybe it was there, and knowing me, I wasn't even listening. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, my heart was healed here. Then I moved to Los Angeles, as many of you know, and I was at Agape under Michael Bernard Beckwith. And that's where I didn't even know that it was a religious science community, because I tell everyone I don't like religion and I don't like science. So I just think I don't even get why they would put those two words together in my book. But not knowing that's who they were and feeling the power of this magnificent man, Michael Beckwith, and the energy of that community. Anyone been to Agape here? A few of us have. It was just a magnificent power that I got to be a part of, and he became my minister, and I that's where I became a minister myself, as you know. That's where I learned how to pray, you know, and what I do appreciate now is that Science of Mind, which is synonymous with religious science, teaches a particular 5-step affirmative prayer that came from Ernest Holmes, the founder. So it goes back into the 20s and 30s and 1920s and 30s. And it is just a very beautiful scientific way to pray. You know, for some, prayer is just always going to be something that is, they're not interested. It's for the weak-minded. It's for the dumb people. It's for the not intelligent, ignorant people. There'll be just people who sort of relate to prayer that way. There'll be other people who relate to prayers just in the foxhole times of their life. You know what I mean? That's how I did pray in college, you know, the night before the big test and you haven't studied at all. You know, that kind of get me, please now, you know, God, it's the bargaining prayer. God, if you get me through this, I will. I actually was so desperate once, I said, God, if you get me through this, I won't be gay. That didn't work. Thank God. There are still those that really will have a prayer life, but it will sort of be just you know, like going to the gym a couple times a month, hoping the body changes. You know, that's sort of how they'll relate to it. And then there are those, like this community, that will make prayer a way of life. A way of life, an art. An art. When I was a kid, I took piano for a long time. The truth of the matter is I wanted to be a dancer. I was in Detroit, Michigan, where my parents couldn't even conceive of sending their son to dance class. So they gave me piano lessons. Nice, right? Well, it turns out I was really good at it. And I would go to competitions. I actually won a competition. And then they moved me to this other teacher. And the other teacher made me change all my technique. And it got really messy. Because what I actually loved about playing the piano was when the music happened. You know, in the beginning, when you learn piano, if anyone's done it, it's not music, right? It's just clunking along, trying to find your way. But if you clunk along long enough, suddenly music happens, like this amazing gentleman over here who has clunked along long enough to make the amazing music that he does, right? Same thing with prayer. We can sort of clunk along for a long time, or we can decide to make music with it, because there is music in the center of prayer. At least that's what I've discovered. And that's what I love teaching about. So prayer is a tool that we can use to literally dig ourselves out of situations. And prayer is a practice that we do every day to increase our ability and our connection to it. And prayer is an art. It's something that you can get into the mystery of it, and it has you in a magnificent way. Prayer happens, and this is really important. Prayer happens in the consciousness of infinite good, not in the problem. Prayer happens in the consciousness of infinite good. Now, the problem is the portal or the thing that calls us to prayer. When you switch your attention to the problems of your life, or you change your mind about them to say, every problem in my life is simply a call for prayer. Isn't that a wonderful perspective? You see, if you look at the problem, look at the problem, look at the problem, what happens to the problem? It grows. We all know this. Law of Attraction 101, it grows. Prayer says you must go up into the fourth dimension of consciousness. You must go up into the I am presence. You must go up into the super consciousness and take your attention off of the problem. Take your attention off of the angry situation. Take your attention off of what isn't working. Lay it down and turn your attention to a different vibration, a higher vibration. Isn't that hard to do sometimes? We really, a part of us, I think, the ego part, the fearful part, really wants to bring God down into the problem, right? It's like putting a dog's nose in the mess or something. I don't know. It's like, God, come down here and fix this. And God, I believe, if God were to speak or whatever, however you think about it, I feel like God would say, I'm not there. You can't find me there. The consciousness of wholeness can't know broken. The consciousness of sufficiency and abundance can't know lack and limitation. You're asking an altruistic principle to know other than itself. Light has never met darkness, no matter how many times it tries. If light was like, I want to meet this darkness thing you speak of, how can I meet it? It's impossible, isn't it? That's the same way we have to think about God. That God is light. The problem is darkness. And if you turn your attention to the light and flip it on, what happens to the problem? It really is that stark of an experience. So prayer calls us to shift. Prayer is, then this is also an important point. Oh, let me do this quote because I love this too. Prayer activates God. Prayer activates God, which is infinite power and oneness, which activates present moment possibilities. When we're in the problem, all we're seeing is the past problems. When we get related to God and infinite possibilities, suddenly, when we relate to God and infinite power, suddenly new possibilities are right here. So those become available, which activates yes, which is what the law of the universe says. We know this, but let's refresh ourselves. I don't feel good. Yes. I'm unhappy. Yes. I'm happy. Yes. Life is working. Yes. Life sucks. Yes. That's all it says. You'd think it would be more interesting than that, right? It just says yes. And you are the creator of this yes all day long. All day long. But it activates it very intentionally. Very intentionally. Which activates faith. Faith is that it's a muscle. I love how Unity teaches about faith. Haven't met anyone that teaches it better than Unity. And I've studied a lot. Unity teaches faith as a power, as a God-centered power. And when we nurture that faith, that muscle becomes stronger, and it allows us to bring into fruition that has not been seen in the world yet. Faith is the bridge that brings what we're dreaming of into form. That's what faith does. So it builds the bridge from the thought to the world of form, which activates, you got it, baby. You get what you're praying for. You get to have this. Prayer, and this is another important point that some of you may know, but this is an important concept. Prayer is for the person who is praying. Prayer happens in our own mind. Prayer, although we pray for other people, that makes sense to us. We love to pray for other people. But where is the prayer happening? In here, in our own mind. Where is God? God is in your mind. That's where you activate it, and that's where you access it. If our beautiful singer Nancy, great job, asked me for prayer because she's having a problem getting her new CD into the world of form, which she should, right? So she comes to me for prayer. I'm just playing with you. She comes to me for prayer. I go into my mind. I go into the higher consciousness of wholeness and oneness, and Nancy and I are one in spirit. So if I change my mind about Nancy and I see her as something else, I see her as healed, I see her expressing what she wants to express, and I establish that thought in my mind, and we're one, guess who gets it? Answered prayer has in the center of it a tracking device, and it knows exactly where to go and who it's for. It knows exactly who it's for. And it finds its way into the expression of their world. But I'm the one who changed my mind. And that's why prayer partnerships are so beautiful, because sometimes it's really hard for us to get out of our gunk, isn't it? And don't make yourself wrong about that. This isn't about good or bad at all. I never judge myself there. What I do is I reach out to a prayer partner. I reach out to someone else who can know the truth for me. It's one of the most beautiful gifts that we can give each other. I started prayer partnering at Agape in 1997 when I got there. And I actually have one prayer partner I met in my first class. Every class they make us prayer partner. We've been prayer partnering now for 19 years. 19 years. For about 17 of them, we prayed every single week. And then over the last couple of years, we've been busy, and we connect when we connect. There was one time when I was in ministerial school, I had 5 prayer partners, one for every single morning. What a gift. What a gift to have one other person wherever 2 or more gathered. To have that opportunity to pray together. It's such an intimate, beautiful relationship. To really build that together, to become vulnerable together, and unpack the fears and the uncertainties and the worries, and have your prayer partner know the truth for you. So when you're called to pray, you don't go out there to the problem. Just like Jesus taught when he had the problem of feeding the multitudes, and all they had was 2 loaves and 5 fishes, or 5 loaves, 2 fishes. I don't know which one it was, but you get the point. Not enough is what the world said they had. What did he do first? If you know, he took what they had and he lifted his eyes up. And he looked up into the higher consciousness and he gave thanks. He activated abundance where the world said there's not enough. That's what prayer does. Prayer takes you to the source of wholeness and lets you rewrite a brand new story. A brand new story, and bring that right where the problem used to appear. It's quite magnificent. It truly, truly is. So there are 5 steps to the affirmative prayer that I learned from the Science of Mind that I bring to you today and next week, and have a workshop next Sunday afternoon. I hope you'll join me, because we're going to really learn how to do it. We're going to create some prayer partnerships. If you're looking for that in your life, it's going to be a wonderful afternoon. And the Super Bowl isn't until after. I don't care about that at all, but I know some of you do. So 5 steps. They're very scientific. It's a little clunky. Remember, in the beginning, you got to learn the bum, 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 and then you move to music. Step 1 is recognition. Step 2 is unification. Step 3 is realization. Step 4 is thanksgiving. And step 5 is release. These are our 5 steps. Today, I'm going to just focus on the first 2, talk about them. And next week, we'll focus on the next 3. So the first one, God is. That's what recognition is. We recognize that God is. What we must know to become powerful prayers is that God is the way, God is the how, and God is the only thing that is happening. It's a big idea to say God is all. Like we can't, the mind, the human mind, the fearful mind, the egoic mind, can't fathom or begin to understand God is all. What does it do immediately? I've taught enough classes to know the first question that comes up, what about the Holocaust? What about the babies? What about this? Like the mind will automatically start negating. And then it turns into, and the ego wins. Because the ego makes you go, well, if God were real, then why is this happening? Then why is this happening? Right? So it really struggles. Because if you embrace the idea that God is, ego done. Just like light or darkness, you don't get both. God is, or the egoic belief I'm separate. You don't get both. One disappears. And we've been very invested in I am separate. We have built a lot of identities. And the world will think we're crazy if we really believe God is all. People will think we're crazy if we think that. And yet, that spiritual truth keeps calling us home because it's where the true peace is. It's where life is. Real life is in the revelation that God is. I actually have that tattooed on my arm. God is. Right here. I saw it about 5, maybe I don't remember now. I'm not good with time. But like 6 years ago, I kept feeling this tattoo coming on my arm. God is, and it was big block letters. I was like, there is no way I'm getting big block letters on my arm that says God is. There is no, I'm a minister, I'm a man of God, but I'm not walking around with that on my arm. And a wonderful artist friend drew it into this beautiful sculpted thing that like the words are in there, but you can't quite read it immediately. So that was my compromise. But I'm so committed, I'm clearly committed to God is if I have it tattooed on my arm, right? I'll show you after if you want to see it. I love showing my tattoos. I love them. So we anchor ourselves. God is. God is. God is power. God is freedom. God is joy. This is what we learn here. We learn the attributes of God. And we reacquaint ourselves with it so that the old definition of God as being separate dissolves. It dissolves. The challenge with God is that we have to give up our victim. We have to give up playing that the world is happening to us. And we have to step into the truth that we are the creators of our reality. We are the creators. You know, I teach, what I love to teach now is imagine a hula hoop around you. And a regular hula hoop. And inside that hula hoop is where I need to do the work first. And once I get enough healing and transformation there, then my hula hoop will get larger. Then my hula hoop will get larger. When we don't want to take care of our own hula hoop, we point out there. Oh, the problem over there. Oh, that over there. We jump out and we victimize or we become victims. And then when we're done with that, we become the hero. Right? That's the game we play. That's the game the ego plays. We jump out of our hula hoop all the time. Because the truth of the matter is, it's quite profound to stay in your own hula hoop and really go, wow, whew, there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm packing a lot of stuff in this little hula hoop here. But that's where prayer can begin to transform us. And it must transform us with the first step. You can't keep your bull crap, if you will, and say God is. So we anchor ourselves in this deep, deep principle. And that deep principle moves us to the second step, I am. The unification step, I am. I love the quote, but seek first the kingdom of heaven. I'm sorry, but seek first the kingdom of heaven and God and God's righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Seek first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness. Get in right relationship to the consciousness of oneness. Exchange idea of kingdom of heaven for experience of oneness. Seek first the consciousness of oneness with God and the laws of the universe, and all things will be added to you. It doesn't go the other way. Get things, get things, get things, get things, then establish your oneness. If you get things without establishing the unification with God, when you lose things, it hurts. It hurts big time because we're clinging to them. So the unification step unifies us with the kingdom of heaven. The Course in Miracles says, I love this, it says, you are the kingdom of heaven. It doesn't say it's at hand. It doesn't say it's nearer than your breath. It says you are the kingdom of heaven, which is another way of saying you are God. You know, I love it. A long time ago, I remember Edwene Gaines, I'll quote her a lot, and I know we love her here, but I met her here. And, you know, I remember when she said, you know, an acorn has an oak tree in it. An acorn doesn't get to become a tomato. An acorn doesn't get to become a banana. An acorn must become an oak tree because that's what it is. And a kitten can't become a giraffe. And a kitten can't be a dog. A kitten becomes a cat. And guess what you become? You become God. It's your only option. It's your only option. You can run around trying to be a lot of other things. And are you my mother? Are you my mother? You run around like that. Or you can start to go, if an acorn becomes an oak tree and a kitten becomes a cat, I must become that which I am, which is God. So we unify with this power. The quote earlier from Exodus, I am, it says I am who, but I know it as I am that I am. There's a couple different interpretations of it. So if we look at the interpretation, I am that I am. If you put a comma, I am that, comma, I am. Right? We've heard this before, many of us. I am that which we put our name to. I am that. That is all power. You have the power of the universe. You want to walk around making excuses another day? That's crazy. Do you get that? I'm not judging you. I'm just yelling at you. That's all. It's crazy to have all the power of the universe and walk around disempowered. I think we'll pop out of our bodies and look back and go, you are freaking kidding me. I think I used about 3% of my power. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want to access all power and use it for good. Use it for good. That's what prayer does. And that's the importance of this second step. I am. God is, I am. There's a wonderful little affirmation that goes, there's one life, that life is God. That life is my life now. It's actually from the Science of Mind textbook. There's one life, that life is God, that life is my life now. That is very simply step 1 and 2 of prayer, isn't it? Recognition and unification. I invite you this week to walk around and say this affirmation all week long. Especially if you're coming back next week to learn the next 3 steps. Immerse yourself in these 2 steps. I invite you to be even bolder. I invite you to lay down every problem you have for 1 week and just do this affirmation. I promise you, next week you can pick up your problems. You can have them right back if you would like. But just for 1 week, what have you got to lose? Now the ego, again, is going to freak out. How dare you take your focus off the problem? What are you, crazy? Are you crazy? You're already in the hole financial. You're already blah, 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 blah. What are you thinking? What you're thinking is, there's one life. That life is God. And that life is my life now. That's what you're thinking. And see if you can think that through the whole week. And you will see for yourself. You must at some point practice this for yourself. There comes a point where you can come listen and come listen and come listen. And then you will either choose to get off the ride or you'll choose to do it yourself. So maybe this is the week for some of us where you can choose to do it yourself. to just go for this. Are you with me? Let's say it together, actually, to activate it. Ready? There is one life. That life is God. That life is my life now. Deep breath. Let's say it one more time. There's one life. That life is God. That life is my life now. Deep breath. All right. So I'm going to know who did this all week, next week, because you're going to float in. You're just going to hover. It will transform us. So let's see if we can do that this week. If you forget, don't beat yourself up. Let's just see if we can do that. Let's take this and move this into prayer, shall we? I'm going to do the prayer right now. You're going to hear clearly the first 2 steps that I do, probably, because I'm going to make them clear. Next week, I'll teach you the next 3, but I'll do those now. I do this every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, which is such a blessing. And it has become, for me, I don't even think about the steps. I don't think about them the way a jazz musician just doesn't. They just go. And they always know how to stay in the framework. That's the fun part. That's the music of prayer. So I invite the prayer practitioners, these amazing prayers, to come forward to anchor this for us. These are people who have spent a lot of time in the art of prayer. They are prayer artists. So these are the people that I will remind you over and over. Get prayer from these people. They're trained to do this. They're here to serve you in this magnificent way. And if there's any other prayer practitioners that want to stand or ministers that want to join us in this lineup, I'd appreciate it. The rest of us turn within. Open your hands, please, to demonstrate your acceptance and your willingness. Take a deep breath. And as I turn inward, I say, God is. God is the love. God is the light. God is the wholeness. God is the freedom. God, the source and the abundance. God is the very power of all that is. God is the love. God is the law, working in perfect partnership and harmony. God is the infinite ideas. God is the unlimited solutions. And God is the love that I am. I am that power. I am that freedom. I am that joy. I am that eternal life. I am all that is good and true about God. I dare to declare this as my divine reality, because why not? That's what I am. And I don't stand in this divinity alone. This is the truth of each and every one of us in this room. We are the very presence and power and passion and love of God itself. And from my place of oneness, I declare that each one of us in this room is here and now releasing the burdens that have kept us from embracing and knowing this divinity. I affirm right here and now that we are freed from the shackles of fear, that we let go of anything and everything that blocks us from being in our power. We plug the I am cord right into the outlet of God. And I affirm that this power is flowing, that this love is healing. Where there once was lack and limitation, we place our attention up on high, and we know the abundance and the sufficiency of God. Right here, right now. I know that whatever is feeling less than whole in our lives is transformed by the power of this prayer. Because we are holy, 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 whole. We are the holy, holy, holy one. We are all that God is, and God is only the good. So therefore we are too, and that good is made manifest in our lives, in our hearts, in our minds. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for the expansion of consciousness and the remembering who we are. Take a deep breath. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Deep breath. This feels good, doesn't it? In this moment, it's easy for me to give thanks. To give thanks for the fulfillment of this prayer. and all the good that it brings and all the miracles that are now available. I release this prayer into the action of the law. I know that it is done. I know that this prayer is done. And so I let it be, and together we say, and so it is. Amen. That was good. It's kind of like after, just feels good. I thought, that's beautiful. One more thing before I pass to these wonderful prayer practitioners. I'm super excited that starting here Monday, February 29th, I will be speaking here every Monday, doing my own gig. I've been talking with Reverend Heidi, and she's such an open heart of inclusivity, and she knows abundance and truth, and I've been looking for a place to just do my thing with joy and happiness, and she was like, yes, do it here. Unity is a beautiful space, and I agree because I love this home. So, and then, you hear the murmuring and the fears, and people fill in the blanks with their own stuff when they don't know the answers. And so I just want to come to you and say that it is my deep honor to come here on Monday nights and do my thing, and it'll be streamed all over the world. And this is a place that can house a lot of inspiration. Let us know this place as something that is beautiful for all people to belong. So if there's any fears around, Heidi's not leaving, I am not coming here, there's none of that happening, but there's a beautiful partnership and joy and sharing of God that is happening. And that's a beautiful thing. So I share that from my heart, and I share that with you because this is your home, and I get it. And sometimes when things change or shift or move, we become curious. But I ask for your prayers, your blessings. Let us imagine together every Sunday filled with people that are seeking the beautiful inspiration of Reverend Heidi. And on Monday nights, those who have a different experience, I'll be taking a deeper dive into healing practices and the power of prayer and really creating an experience where transformation happens. That's what God is just insisting that I continue to do in my world and for those that are wanting it. So it's a win-win for all. And that's where I want to share. I want to share about that. I have postcards out there about it if you want to learn more about it. But I ask that you hold that in prayer. That would be a wonderful gift. Thank you.
And into this wonderful divine prayer energy that has been established here this morning, we ask you to hold in prayer all of those who are dear to your hearts, including those who are on the screen up here. We are so happy to be here with you this morning. We are your prayer chaplains for today. There's Abby and Jeff and Michael and myself. I'm Jerry. And we are available to pray with you just outside to the right in the Fillmore room. So please come and bring all of your happiness, all of your joys, all of your sadnesses. And we will be, to the best of our ability, hollow bones for the divine, and allow the presence of God to flow through us into you and back into us. And then it shall be released because it is done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, chaplains. It is true, there are no accidents. It may be that some of you felt a great need to be in prayer today, and you couldn't have received a better message than what Mark Anthony Lord provided us with, and now you have access to some amazing prayer partners. So follow that need if you have that, and join with us in prayer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for, again, revealing the truth of who we are. And welcome. It'll be nice to have you here on Monday nights. So I'm pleased now to introduce our board secretary, Diane Valletta. She's going to announce the monthly tithes.
Thank you and good afternoon. We are a prayerful community, and we are also a tithing community. 10% of all we receive goes back out into the world for good. Because of your conscious giving during the month of December, we are tithing nearly $6,000 excuse me, to make a difference in our community and in the world. This month's tithe recipients include Goldie's Place, dedicated to transforming the lives of homeless in Chicago, Silent Unity and Unity Worldwide Ministries, Reverend Greg Barrett for facilitating our board retreat, our own Unity in Chicago Pet Ministry, and finally TPAN, the Test Positive Aware Network, empowering those with HIV/AIDS to live open, healthy, and productive lives. We are also tithing to staffers who have gone the extra mile in recent Unity events and projects. Remember that tithe suggestions come from you. So to submit a tithe request, email to suggesttithe@unitychicago.org. Please now join me in our affirmation. By affirming our prosperity and giving generously, we are making a difference in the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. Well, today's flowers are generously given by Ramona Passetti in honor... Whoops. I wondered what those footsteps were all about. That was my cue. We're going to go on with our tithes and offerings first, right? Okay. Reverend Mark's going to help us through that. I'm going to just step out for a while.
And I invite you to take your love offering that you have for this beautiful community in your hands. Those of you who give auto giving, thank you for that. Auto giving is a great way to help you remember. You can just hold your hands together and hold the love ball in your hands. If you don't have anything to give today, still hold some energy of love. Let every one of us give to this community, even if it is your love and your energy. It's a beautiful gift, and we've received much from all that happens here. So giving is our natural response. We say together, divine love richly flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful for the blessings of this day. I am grateful for the blessings on his way. Thank you, ushers.
All right, do you feel the Spirit? I feel the Spirit. Let's sing about it. I feel the Spirit moving in me. 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 I feel the love that's moving in me. I feel the love moving in me. I feel the love moving in me. I feel the love moving in me. I feel the joy it's moving in me. I feel the joy it's moving in me. I feel the joy moving in me. I feel the joy it's moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. Yeah, I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Oh, we are so grateful for Gretchen. Just an amazing standard every Sunday. Thank you. Thank you. We invite our wonderful ushers to bring these gifts forward. And please join me in extending your hands and imagine love flowing from them, blessing and multiplying. We reach our hands out, we lift our mind up into the consciousness of infinite good. And we bless these gifts knowing that they are multiplied and they meet all the needs of this beloved community. Caring for the building, caring for this beautiful staff that works so hard, for our beloved minister, Reverend Heidi, for all that is wanted and needed for this community. We know that God is our source and that this is a beautiful channel through which God flows. So we bless this, and we know that it truly does all that and more and more. We live in the consciousness of abundance. And I also bless all of you who have given it, because the giver, the source of the good, is blessed and multiplied also. So all that you give is returned to you abundantly. So this is a win-win prayer, and I'm grateful for that, and so it is. Amen. Thank you for your generosity.
Now the answer to the mystery about the flowers. They are generously given by Ramona Passetti in honor of her mom, Ann Jessup, and her 100th birthday. Anne was with us for the 9:30 service, and as she came in, I said to her, "So is today your birthday?" She said, No, actually I turned 100 last Wednesday. And I said, "Well, then you're really older than 100. So she was with us and celebrated her third party of her birthday with us. Ramona writes this: "To our dearest 100-year-old who goes by Mom, Anne, Babu, or Grandma, depending upon who is looking for your attention. You have gifted all of us with your love, caring, compassion, and your wonderful, sometimes spicy, sense of humor. We are so blessed to have you in our lives and to celebrate this milestone birthday with you. We look forward to sharing another wonderful year with you. We are hoping to continue our celebration in Italy in June with all the love and blessings we can send to you from Ramona, Larry, and our family, including Bella, Bill, Sue, and their families, Michelle and Kyle, Jocelyn, and Marcy." So, happy birthday, Anne. Party on. One story about Anne: she was insistent on being part of the Pride Parade last year, and Unity sponsored a trolley. So we found a comfortable seat by a window for Anne, and she spent the entire parade, 2.5 hours, whatever it was, sitting by that window, hand raised and waving with the biggest smile on her face, waving to everybody. So she took a wonderful energy out into the world. And please join us downstairs after the service. There is a fabulous birthday cake, and Anne would want all of you to enjoy that. There are flower donations available for next Sunday, if you're so moved, as well as on the 28th. And if that's what you care to do, stop by the Wings and take care of it before you leave. Well, to those of you who are joining us for the first time today, we're so glad that you are here. We hope that you've enjoyed your experience, and we have a small gift as a reminder of your visit with us. But we need to know who you are. So please raise your hand so our ushers can find you. In the front. Raise them high. Along with your carnation, we extend an invitation for you to join us downstairs in our welcome area. You'll find it at the back of at the church in the library. There's a big welcome sign, blue and white welcome banner. Look for that. Or look for one of our welcome team members. They're wearing bright pink badges. We'd love to get to know you better and answer any questions you might have about us. 2 brief announcements. Promise. New Sacred Service volunteer opportunities are available. This is a new program here. Categories include class assistants, compassionate care, office assistants, hospitality, declutter, yay, and bulletin folding. So if any of those speak to you, there are sign-up sheets downstairs in the friendship room. And Carol, our pet ministry leader, is here today. So please stop by and visit Carol in the gallery to hear more about your foster opportunities. please know that the pet ministry here will cover all of the expenses that you might have, vet expenses, food expenses, as you foster an animal. So please take advantage of that. Carol's here with one of our special friends. You want to say a few things?
For a long time, and I captured him, and I thought he was going to die because he looked so bad, and he had all the tests done, and he was just healthy as anything. So he came to live at my house, and he's done very well. He's friendly now, but he's losing weight, and he's probably on his way downhill, but he's not suffering. So I just want to thank you all for all your support, because we have lots of these kind of kitties. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. You are a blessing. Let me tell you, if I was moving downhill, I'd want to be with Carol. That's the way to go out. And now let's welcome back Nancy Erickson.
Yeah, whoa, no. Alright, right here, right now. Something great is happening. Love has taken hold. It won't let go of us now. Something here is calling us forward, upward motion. We're drops in the ocean roll on. Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, now every day's a chance you can do something amazing to feel your passion blazing and shine. Paint with new vision and dance in new directions. Explode to new heights in your mind. I will rise up with you today. Lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment of our greatness. Let's stand together now. All right, say yes, say yes. One dream, one voice. One heart, one world, one dream, one voice, one heart, one world, one dream, one voice, one heart, one world, yeah! Live the dream of a highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment of our greatness. Let's stand together. Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can stand together. Let's stand together now.
That's Nancy Erickson. Thanks for your backup help, Gretchen, as always. Peter Polzak, Bill Harrison, Sarah Allen, thank you, thank you, thank you. And in that incredible energy of unification, let us now speak our statement of being, soon to appear. We are a diverse spiritual community of light, love, and laughter, comprised of people of all faiths. Through creative thought, affirmative prayer, meditation, and inspired action, we bring good into expression in our lives and in the world. So there we are. That is who we are, and we claim it and declare it to be true. So remember to check in with Mark Anthony Lord out at the table to sign up for his class next week, learn more about his Monday nights here, and just to welcome him back. It's nice to have him here. And now let us stand and sing ourselves home.
Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together and let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us.